Happy Friday, everyone. It looks like we're going to go ahead and get started today. We have an awesome instructor today, Jermaine Brooks. Jermaine, take it away.
That'll work. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jermaine Brooks. Been an agent since 2014. Started the list sale buy team late last year. So welcome. We got a nice intimate group, so I expect a lot of conversation. It'll be more like a conversation. I'm not a big instructor, teach off the PowerPoints and things like that. More of a conversation so we can all see what's going on in everyone's business. One of the things that I love about KW and the culture here is the fact that you get to learn from others. Everything is not a cookie cutter in this business, as you know or will find out. Every deal is totally different, and everybody has their own business and makeup. So with a small intimate group like this, we can get a lot of conversation, find out what's working for you, what's working for me, and start sharing some of those secrets. All right, so today is Ignite Power Session number 3, Find Your Business. So first off, what are your expectations when you just listen to Find Your Business? What are you thinking? What do you think that is? Anybody? And it's only 7 of us, so somebody has to speak.
When you're finding your business, you're looking immediately at your sphere of influence.
Yes, that is the key part. That is where you start. Funny story. I never really looked at my sphere of influence. When I started my business, I pretty much came from the real estate industry and an investor background. So pretty much that was my sphere, those individuals. But when you talk about the 10-4 and looking around your circle, who you know, I never really had to do that. I had an opportunity to take Bold this year. And one of the biggest things they did in Bold was a brain rattler. And it stumped me because I was like, wow, I never did this in my business. And I started doing it now, and now I'm increasing my business. So pretty much what that brain rattler was, it was a 5 or 6 page document. And it went down everyone you could possibly meet in life, like from who's your doctor, who's your dentist, who's your kid's teacher, who's your kid's parents. So you went down and you named all of these people. And those people were the people you first made contact with. When you first get your license, like I'm teaching a lot of people on my team, you got to go through that brain rattler or just write down everybody you could possibly know or you come in contact with. And that's how you let them know you're in business. Soft touches, nothing too dramatic. Just, hey, how you doing? Just got into the real estate industry. There's my card. Thinking about list, sell, buy, or anything like that, just give me a call. So that's what we're discussing today. That's the expectations. So I'm learning as well. Like I stated, I just learned this in Bold, and we just finished Bold not even a month ago. And I started using that. I've been in the business since 14. So the sphere of influence and spread it out. Everybody you touch. All right. So that is pretty much the expectations of this. How do you find your business? How do you hone on in your business? How do you make that a common practice? Because if you don't have anybody to sell property to, or people to come to you to sell property, you have no business. So one thing for sure is that lead gen is number 1. That is most important. Lead generation is number 1. And this should be your constant habit. All right, so the biggest thing that Keller Williams University discusses is the 10-4. I was doing it, but didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know it was a name called 10-4, but KW has real snippy, snazzy names for everything. And the 10-4 is a lead generation habit. It's daily. When I wake up in the morning, this is the first thing I do. I grab my phone and I'm daily. Add 10 new contacts to your database. Speak with 10 people in your database. Write 10 notes. And then the 4th is preview 10 homes. All right, so let's unpack that. Adding 10 new contacts to your database. Now, we already discussed the brain rattler and going through that. After you do that and you've contacted them and they're getting sick of you and this, that, and the other, how can you find other people to contact to add those 10?
Ask the people that you know, do they know anybody that's interested in buying, selling?
That's great. So you take the person that you already contacted with and find out how many arms they can put you in contact with. That's great. That's a great one. Another one? Anything anybody else using?
You get very involved in your community so people see you, join clubs, join groups, so that you have the opportunity to run into a lot of different people.
Yes, that is extremely important. In my fraternity, when I got licensed, I became property directorate chair. So I positioned myself strategically so that I would be in charge of all of our fraternity's properties. And hence, I meet a lot of people who's interested in the properties. I meet a lot of the residents that we house. So yeah, that's definitely a good way to go. Another one, there's plenty, and we should all start using these as well. Any more? Anybody use social media? Yeah, so what I do is I don't post much, but when I do post, it's pretty strategic. So after I post something, the next morning I'll let it just sit, and the next morning everybody who commented or said something, that will be something that I would just automatically contact. Hey, how you doing? I see you like my post, this, that, and the other. Are you interested? Do you know anybody interested in selling? Do you know anybody interested in buying? Market's hot right now. You know, so that's easy 10 contacts right there. And the funny thing about it is on social media, if you do it publicly, then you also get more comments and more people added to that as well. So that's just a little something that I do. Because when you first wake up, it's hard to say you're going to just meet 10 people. So you got to figure out different ways that you can meet 10 people from your house. So that's what I started doing on social media, going to Facebook, going to old posts, check my DMs, you know, things like that, and following back up on those. Any other suggestions? Because there's plenty out here. Real easy one. So once you get in the business, I consider myself a listing agent. I learned the hard way when I first started in 14. I had about 10 people with 250K pre-approvals. I thought I was about to be the next $1 million agent. And I ran around and didn't sell anything for like 6-7 months. And from there, that changed my whole mindset. I said, I would rather have the houses and let other agents run and show my properties than sit back and wait on offers. And that's when I changed my whole mindset and just started focusing on listings. But from listings leads to leverage, leads to marketing, leads to people contacting you just for questions and things like that. So one of the things that I do is off my listings, I get a lot of emails, just people, I'm interested. There's so many sites right now. It's ridiculous. Like once you put up a listing, you know, it goes on MLS, then it'll hit Zillow, then it'll hit Redfin, then it'll hit HomePath, then it'll hit HomeSnap. And there's so many different third-party companies, and people start to contact you from there. So what I do is I'll wake up and I'll see all the contacts. And I'll go to these different sites and they'll have these people contacted if they liked it, if they ask for inquiry, ask for additional information. And that's how I also start building my database from there. And it's just real quick, I'll write up a simple text or email stating that I see you had interest in my listing. Is there anything I can assist you with or offer you more information? Copy, paste, and I'm sending that to everybody who touched one of my listings. And that is how I touch. I started counting because normally it just becomes habit and you don't count them. But I started counting when we were in Bold, and I was doing that, touching about 100 to 120 something people a day. Right. So now you see the more people you touch, the more business you generate. And it's just simple techniques that you can use. But the most important thing, like I stated, I do this first thing in the morning. As soon as I get up, grab my bottle of water, and I'm on my phone and I'm going through it. And those are how you create that lead generation. And as we stated, lead gen is number one. You got to create people you can do business with. First, they become just a prospect, a customer to a client. All right. Now we're talking about handwritten notes. However, I'm old school, so I still, my wife kills me because I got sticky notes everywhere. Anytime my phone rings, anytime somebody contacts me, I'm the sticky note king at the house. I'm writing a sticky note, and this is what this person wants, this is what this person wants, and then at the end of the day, I classify them. Whether it's hot, warm, cold, leads, potential, listings, buyers, rent, so I classify those. So notes. However, and you'll be happy, I'm just getting really big into command. And you can do all of this in command. It's one central location, and that's what I'm starting to do now. As soon as I get a call, I'll use my sticky note, I'll write it down, but then I put it into my command system. And then that's when I start putting the notes. I go right to the top and I write the notes. What was that conversation? What was this about? And that's how I start building a rapport with that person and that individual. It's just not about making contact. Contact is good. The initial contact is great. It's the follow-up. It's the nurturing the relationship. It's the building and creating some type of chemistry for you to get that listing or to get the buyer or something like that. So it is imperative that you understand that. One of the biggest things that I've been noticing, and my team is pretty much all newer agents. All of them are newly licensed, and they're learning the business from start to beginning. And a lot of times I have to take a step back and think, like, when I first started, did I have this issue and how did I overcome it? So a lot of times the issue is nurturing those relationships. My team, they'll get leads and they'll say, oh, it was cold. Why was it cold? Because I called them and they said they were not interested right now. Well, that's a right now. However, they contacted our organization because they had some type of interest in either listing, selling, or buying a property. So therefore, you have to nurture that relationship. It may not be right then and there. Every blue moon, you'll answer the phone and somebody is like, come list my house right now. Or I have a pre-approval in my hand, I just don't have an agent. That very, very seldom happens. Most of the time it's building that relationship, building that rapport, staying in their lives. And that's another thing that Command helps with, and I started doing as far as soft touches, setting them up on a drip campaign and things like that. And the system does it for you, so you don't even have to do it, and you look like a superstar and a genius. I get people that call all the time or shoot me a text like, oh, I just seen the neighborhood demographic information that you sent me. Thanks for thinking about me. And I'm like, I don't even know what it was. So, use the systems that we have in place to build your business and allow you to do your soft touches. It actually allows you to be more than one person. And that is one thing in real estate, that once the business gets to rolling, you need to recreate yourself, and Command allows you to do that. So speaking on that point, as far as nurturing relationships, any information, any ahas on what you do in your business, what you started doing or anything like that? Somebody jump in. I know you guys got to do something.
I really liked how you said that you follow up with everyone that posts to your posts on Facebook, because I've been getting more and more followers, and I always make sure to like or comment, but I haven't been sending them private messages. So I think that's a great way to just reach out.
Yeah, definitely. And those are, I mean, well, first, I took a social media class in like 2015 or 16. And in the social media class, they told you that once someone likes your picture, even if you just like the fact that they liked it, there's still an interaction. So the more interactions you have in the social media world, the more spinoffs you get. And that's the whole key with the social media thing. My partner, Cliff Lewis, is huge on it. And like, he posts so much, I'm like, when do you work? Like, but he gets a lot of business, and like nationwide, people are calling like, well, the little talk you did was so interesting. I'm interested in buying something in Cleveland, and we've got a lot of business off of that. So definitely the social media. Anyone else? Anything else as far as nurturing relationships, meeting people, things like that?
Just something that I've done. So this is Natalie. I am on our Perry Youth Baseball. Well, I coach my son's baseball team, as well as I'm on the director of the marketing for the board. So anybody from my team I've added, anybody from the board I've added, and just with being involved in volunteering, I've added. So it's building that. But as far as we were talking about, like your contacts, making sure you're following up with them, and it's truly what I've been doing is, everybody knows from when I first joined that I was a new agent. I've only been in, for about 6 months now. And, so there was the initial like, hey, I'm an agent, let's talk about it. But now it's more like care calls, and I'm trying not to overwhelm my sphere, because they're like, okay, I know why you're calling. But truly it's more care calls. And when you lead with that care, you truly, then they start to have organically, it's the forward conversation that you always tried to lead with, and just their interest in their family and what they're doing. And it just naturally will organically come back to, how's real estate and how's the market? So just leading with more care and talking about, summer's coming, school's out. There's just so much to talk about with people. So just ensuring that you're following up just to say hi.
Yeah, and I love that. I go wherever the business is. So I'll be on the west side one day, I'll be in Lakewood, I'll be in Akron. That's just the way I built my business. However, what you're doing is you're building a business organically. And then whenever somebody needs something in Perry, they'll start running to you. So that is a great way to do it. And like you stated, you started with just soft touches, care calls, things like that. But what you're doing is you're building it from the ground up. So you may not see the return immediately, but then you'll become that person, that real estate genius in that area. And that's how you build it from the ground up. Trust me, I've seen it work. Melanie Sweeney, she killed it. She kills it in Shaker Heights. And that's pretty much what she did. I seen her grow, and I was like, wow, it was amazing. And I see it's a couple agents that just in their little niche, and then they just grow from there. And they start with meeting the friends. And you're a coach, so who doesn't want to do the real estate from the coach? I was a football coach at Warrensville, and I still have a lot of my players now call me, coach, help me buy a house. Me and the family need more room. So once you're that coach and that figure, and you build that relationship, because that's what it's about. It's that relationship, that trust. And once they know you're in the business, it definitely will come back to you. So that's a great job. I commend you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more as far as nurturing relationships or anything? All right. Another funny story. So when I got a lot of, the first panel that I did, it was like in 16 or 17. And everybody was like, well, Jermaine, where are you getting your business from? I come from, I was an investor. So I did the buy and flips and the buy and holds and the rehabs. And so those were the people I knew. So that's who I gravitated to. So when I was asked on a panel, where do you get your business from? And I didn't really have a KW answer, a good realtor answer. I just told the truth. I meet most of my contacts at Home Depot. I go to the plumber's aisle. I meet a lot of contractors at the pro desk. If they're in there rehabbing a house, obviously that's where I want to be. I'm known for the dumpsters. Anytime I see a dumpster, I'm stopping at a property because either they just bought it and they're about to do a light rehab, or they're getting it ready to sell. And those were my things that I did. It was totally different, and I've shared that with a lot of agents, and a lot of agents are starting to do that as well. Like I stated, I'm more of a listing agent, so I concentrated on just my niche. I didn't want to chase a lot of the $500,000 houses and $1 million house. Everybody wanted that, and I just wanted to stay in my little area. My area, what I was familiar with was investors and things like that. So that's what I nurtured. In my head, I would rather deal with somebody that's buying 5 or 6 houses a month than buying one every 7 years. And that's the mentality I had. And to this day, it's still working. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when the investment starts slowing up, but that's what I've done, and that's what just spurred my business from there. So just thinking outside of the box. The 10-4 is great. I do it all the time. You need to do it, but you also have to find what works for you. One thing that I love, like I stated about KW, is that when we have masterminds, you hear what other agents do. Like, wow, I never thought about that. But you can take that and make it your own. And that's how you grow your business. I see a lot of my young agents on the team and see what they're doing. And I was like, wow, I would have never thought about that. Like little things that they're doing that create success. And it still goes back to the main thing, your sphere, increasing your sphere and nurturing those relationships. That's the true key. When people call you, then you know you're doing something right. Yeah, and like was stated earlier, asking those people for referrals. Because someone speaking on your behalf goes a long way. A long way. I've had the opportunity to have some listings out like in North Royalton, Macedonia, and most of those came from referrals. I walked in there with all my documents, with my CMA, and ready to dazzle them, and they were like, no, we don't even need to hear the presentation. What do you think? What do you think the amounts we could get for the house? What would your listing price be? We heard you did a great job for such and such. And once you start getting those calls, it's about that relationship. And once those relationships start going and growing, then you can actually have a power pack business. But you still need to lead generate. Going back to that. All right, so next we're talking about make it happen prospecting. So, and once again, I just started doing this as well in the command system. So in command, you can actually do leads, take those leads to appointments, take those appointments to agreements, those agreements to contracts. And once you're in contracts, what's the next thing? You get paid. You get paid. That's what we're in the business for. And that is the key. Now, how do you get there? Lead generate. So we're already talking about lead generation. Now, once you get, you build your lead generation, you're doing your soft touches, everything like that. Next, it goes to how do we get an appointment, a listing appointment, being prepared for a listing appointment, being prepared for a buyer's consultation. Those type things are important. What I've been training our agents to do is be prepared for every situation. Whenever, like, all right, so I'm in the investor field. So when I go meet a potential client, whether they're on the listing side or the buyer side, I have every resource possible to me. That's another thing. If you're going to be the professional and you're going to be the go-to agent, you need to have all the resources available. So if a client asks me, well, I'm interested in buying these 2 houses right here. Do you have property management resources? I got 6 of them. Do you have contractors? I got a list of them. Plumbers, electricians. So you become that go-to person for all of their needs. And what also does that do? That helps build a relationship. So the same thing, just on the buyer side. Well, I have not started a pre-approval process yet. Oh, no problem. Got 6 lenders right here. And also make relationships with those lenders. Nurture those relationships. Title companies do the same thing with title companies. Every home inspectors, start putting your list together. Start meeting those people. Because when you start meeting those home inspectors, I've gotten deals just from a guy, and it's funny, I'll send out a list with just like five home inspectors on a list. And I guess the one guy just kept getting called, and he called me like, Jermaine, thank you so much for sending me all this business. And I was like, oh, no problem. But who called you? I didn't even know who had called, but it was just the way the business was set up. And once you get in that system, like I'm going to meet a buyer, so I know I need this, this, and this. And you have all of those references, you start building that relationship and tightening everything up. And that's what separates you at appointments. You want to show your worth when you get that opportunity to get in the door for an appointment. I think that is the most important thing. Every agent has access to a CMA. Some do it better than others, but it's pretty much the same information. I've been in listing appointments where I came in and I had my CMA in my hand, and I looked on the table, the dinner table, and it was like 6 CMAs right there. So what's going to separate me from getting that listing? So what I did was I held my CMA in my hand, and I said, I see you guys already have these. Let's talk about what's really going on. What's your motivation? You know, you start taking a deep dive into why they want to move, where they're going to be moving to, what are their obstacles. A lot of times on listing appointments, it's like, I dread the move. Well, you know what? I got 4 guys that I've used in the past that are all movers. Let's have them come over, give a consultation so that it help ease that. So it's bringing more and value add to the deal. I think that is extremely important, and make it your own, So once you get those appointments and you seal those, like I say, then it goes to the agreements. That's either that buyer's representative agreement or a listed agreement. And once you get that taken care of, now you're almost to the money. And once you get in the contracts, then it's just working through those contracts, working through the obstacles. If you haven't done a gang of deals, I've never did a deal that was easy. They all have issues, all of them. And no matter what, it's being a problem solver. And that's what I try to tell a lot of my agents and people that I speak with. We all have the license, we all have the knowledge, but each deal is going to have some problems. It's that agent who can figure it out the easiest that can get deals closed. I've seen agents have like 7 or 8 deals pending, and I'm like, well, you ready to close any of them? Well, this one had an issue, this one had an issue, and I got a release on this one, and I got a release on that one. And like I tell them, I said, a lot of times agents get in the way. If you have a person that's willing to sell a house and you finally find a buyer who wants to buy the house, a lot of times agents get in the way. I mean, you got 2 people who are in a perfect marriage. A lot of times the obstacles that come up just need to be addressed and problem solved so you can get to the payday ultimately, and both of those individuals happy. So that's just my little tidbit on that, because I somewhat like pride myself on not losing a deal. Like I have since 14, I've had 12 deals that I lost that crashed and burned. And I have those still on sticky notes on my desk because I was like, why couldn't I get that deal closed? And that's just me, and that's just the competitor in me. But why couldn't I figure out that problem? And I still, to this day, look at those deals like, oh, why couldn't I figure that out? And it crashed and burned. But it's being a problem solver. Lead gen, nurturing, and figuring out the problems, because they will arise. They will arise. I don't know if you've had issues with deals, but figuring them out is the hardest part. All right, so now we're going to speak on the 4 C's of prospecting. Capture, connect, cultivate, and close. Let's say that again. All right, capture, connect, cultivate, and close. The 4 C's. So as I think about that, I think about what we've already been discussing. Capture is pretty much that lead generation. That's just getting the names in the command, this, that, and the other, writing your notes. Then it's the connect. It's the soft touches. It's the care calls. Then it's the nurture, what we're talking about, bringing in the relationships, establishing a relationship. And then it's going to the business part of it. So if you notice, the close is just the one. However, it's the capture, connect, and cultivate in which you're still working. So one thing, which was a realization to me, like I stated, when I started taking Bold, it was like an eye-opener for me, because I never ran a business like this, which is pretty much what the book tells you to do. So for me to go back and start really honing these skills has really, allowed me a lot of, upward mobility. But the capture and the connect, and then the cultivate is really key. As we stated, connecting and writing those notes in, because it's the funniest thing is when you contact someone and you don't remember the last conversation you had with them. So you want to call them, and that's why I said I started using command. You put your notes in there. You have the phone number right there. You pull up the thing. You have the last conversation, the date you last talked. Hey, I'm just following back up. We spoke about 3 weeks ago. Just wanted to know how's everything going with the kids. How was the vacation you went on? Those type things are key. So that's why those notes and that connect part is key. Also, that helps with nurturing that relationship. And it helps you get to the close. You can't get to the close without a nurtured relationship. It just doesn't happen. It's sad to say, it just doesn't happen. Any thoughts on those 4 C's? Because it sounds easy, and I know like when you take the classes and things like that, capture, connect, cultivate, close. Yep, I got it, 4 C's. But to put it and implement it and put it into practice is extremely tedious. And it sometimes gets a little bit frustrating. And I think what you have to do is just take it step by step and make it your own. And I keep saying make it your own because a lot of times when you try to do things with the way the book tells you, it's not the way you conduct business or the way you are with your personality. So that's why I say always try to make it your own. Take these 4 C's and make them your 4 C's. All right. And we started this whole conversation discussing your sphere of influence. All the people you know trust you and may do business with you, which is still key. Still key, and then growing that sphere from there. All right, time blocking. Like I stated, first thing in the morning, I'm up and I'm making my contacts. I think it was Boych, Michael Boych, that said if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't count.
If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
so, I mean, as soon as he said that, it hit me. I was like, that makes all the sense in the world. So that's what I started doing. Time blocking is essential. As far as organization, that helped me out tremendously. Now I'm able to focus because one thing about it, in real estate, your phone, the emails, and if you are like, I hate to have 25 emails, I'm sorry. I have to look at them, but you can do that all day and you'll get caught up with emails and text messages. So what I do is I time block time to respond back to all the emails at least once during that day, and then follow up at night. So make it your own. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't count. Time block. Get your schedule together from 7 to 8 contacts. I'm doing all my calls. I'm doing all my adding people to my command system, writing my notes in. Get your time block, get everything on schedule, and go from there. At 4:30 to 6:30, I'm going to do preview. I'm previewing homes for potential buyers, and it helps you. Trust me, because I run around ragged for years, where I was just like, the first thing I was putting out fires all the time. This call come. I got to answer this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I ran myself ragged. And that's when you get that burnout, because you don't have a set schedule. Once you put everything on my calendar, and I know I'm doing this from this time, everything gets done. And it took me a while to really realize and understand that, but that is essential and key. Any comments or thoughts on time blocking, time management, anything anybody else does?
Do you time block like your self-care time, like working out or meditating, that kind of thing? When do you squeeze that in?
Yeah, so I do that on Mondays. Well, Sundays is hot tub day, so I'm in the hot tub on Sundays. And don't call me or leave me alone. And then Monday is my gym day, and I try to get Wednesdays in. So Monday and Wednesday. And I usually go from 11 to about 1. Those are the only 2 days. I used to be able to like to get in there more days, but due to the schedule, but Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Sundays is my relaxation. After, I usually do a couple showings, and then from like 3, I'm done. But that is essential. I used to always hit a wall around my birthday in September. I used to hit a wall. I wouldn't get anything done, and I just started looking at my numbers, tearing it up. September hits, and it was because I just hit a wall. I didn't feel like answering phone calls, emails. I was just burnt out, and that was the reason. I wasn't taking care of myself, taking the time away weekly, and it was just constant real estate, and you will hit a wall. So you do need to have time for yourself and time for the family and things like that, because life happens. And it's that work-life balance. And allowing myself to start time blocking has helped me out tremendously. Anything else? Is anyone doing any time blocking or unofficial, I'm doing this from this time or anything like that? Or does everybody just shoot from the hip?
So I time block, and I was told that you can replace, but you can't erase. So my lead gen time was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 3. So now I do at night, and then I had to change everything else for this month, but I still made it happen. And when I got surprise calls and had to go show stuff, I still tried to make it happen. It wasn't as pretty, but I did still try to make it happen.
Yeah, that's it. That is the magical thing. I mean, things are going to pop up. Yesterday, I was out in Macedonia doing a couple showings, and a guy called me and said, "We're almost finished with this flip in Shaker Heights. we got somebody from Howard Hanna coming over here to look at it. Come take a glance. I said, what? How long you gonna be there? I'm on the way. You know, so things like that happen where you have to make those adjustments and those changes. But having that framework and that structure does assist. Any other comments in regards to time blocking, time management, work-life balance, anything like that?
Yeah, so you're working like 6-7 days a week typically, and can you kind of just real quick break down what your daily schedule looks like?
Yep.
Start to finish.
Yep, so wake up in the morning, I'm doing my lead gen, all right? So I do that for about an hour and a half, lead generation, soft touches, calls, follow-up, everything like that. Then from there, I go to pendings, because you gotta watch your money. So all your deals that's pending, I'm checking up on every deal, every day. What's going on, what's missing, what's needed, those type things. And I follow up with our admin to make sure she doesn't have anything that I need to do. So from there, I go lead gen to my pendings. After my pendings, I look at all my listings that I have. I'm checking out all my listings to see if possible reductions are needed, any issues with the listings. Lockbox was gone, couldn't get a person in. What showings do we have? If I have to send a showing report to the actual seller, you know, so I'm following up on all my listings. After that, then I'm doing team. So anyone on the team that has had an issue, sent me a text, anything like that, I follow up with them. And then I usually take a lunch, relax for a second, and then I schedule showings, any showings that I have for any buyer appointments or anything like that. I usually do that between 4 and 6. And that's pretty much it. And it is, I'm usually 6-7 days, except for Sunday. Sunday at 3, I don't do anything. Oh, and Brown season. So yes, yeah, when it's football season, yeah, don't call me on Sundays. But other than that, I try to be as accessible as possible. Another thing that I just added was on Thursdays, I work third shift on Thursdays. So I do a first shift, which I do my regular routine, but on Thursdays, I usually pull like an all-nighter. And I usually stay up to about 3:30, 4 in the morning, and it's just for my own sanity. So I like to get all emails that came through the week. If I hadn't responded, I like to respond to them. Before I found out about it, people used to get emails from me at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and they used to be like, "You always working?" And I was like, yeah, that's what I do. I'm always working. But now I got it on automatic response, so you can hit the auto send, and I set everything for 8 in the morning, so everything goes out at 8 in the morning. But that's how I have it set up. So Thursday, I usually work, like I said, I do a third shift, and then for my own sanity, make sure I'm caught up on everything. And even on those days, on Thursdays, I'll go back like maybe a month, like beginning of the month, make sure I haven't missed anybody, forgot somebody, or something like that, because it does happen. When you get into the rigmarole, you may miss someone. So that's what I do on Thursday in my third shift. So it's a little bit different, but like I said, you make it your own, you find out what works for you. I'm an unorganized but organized person. It's organized in my head and for my business, and it's what I know. Like if you go in my office, you're like, "What the heck is this?" But it's totally organized for me, and I understand it. So you got to make it your own. Anyone else? All right. Before we get out of here, prospecting opportunities. Let's discuss prospecting for a second. What do you think the definition, or what is your definition of prospecting?
Going out and actively finding business.
Yeah, that is the key. That's my definition. When you actively go search for business, that's what I think of when I say prospecting. Finding it, whether it's I've done it door knocking, walking around passing out flyers, Home Depot, dumpster diving, what I do, those type things are essential. You find out what works for you. I got a couple agents that on my team that she walks her dog. And when she walks her dog, she walks through the whole neighborhood and meets everybody. And everybody loves her dog, so they just run up and want to see her dog, this, that, and other, and that starts that conversation. So, I was like, that's prospecting at its best. And she that's better than door knocking. I mean, because you got the friendly dog, and you walk in the neighborhood and people just run up to you. So, I mean, prospecting, make it your own. Any other ideas as far as prospecting or something that you do that's working?
Something that I am kind of getting underway is that, there are some areas in Perry Township or in Canton that I would like to sell in, and a lot of the houses haven't turned in a long time. So just sending letters or putting notes in those mailboxes, letting them know about the current market, and if they had any interest in seeing a competitive market analysis or the values of the homes in the area, to reach out to us.
Perfect. That's great. Like I said, you're gonna be the queen of Perry.
Queen of Perry here.
You're starting it organically, and you're growing it, and that's your area. So become that genius in the area. Anybody have any question in regards to Perry, then they'll definitely come to you. I like that. Anyone else? Anything?
I am very heavily involved with our weekly farmers market, which is actually a big deal. And I've been doing it for months and months and months. So before I was ever even licensed, I was doing it and talking about getting licensed. And I take their pictures and I share them with them, and I post and they post, and then they share my posts, and I do all of my posts through my business, account. So my name is so closely linked, and now it's it's getting its own wheels, and it took a long time to build those relationships, but I've come from a place of value. They want my pictures, they reach out, and now I have the entire farmers market database. They gave me every single name, number. I'm their photographer and I'm their realtor.
That is a home run. And that's what it is. And like you stated, the key thing that I heard you say, it took some time, but now you're starting to see the benefits of it. A lot of time, us as realtors, we treat everything as a transaction instead of a relationship. And I have been guilty of that. If you look at everything as a transaction and a dollar amount, you won't go far. But if you look at everything as a relationship and you're building and cultivating a relationship, then you will start hitting home runs. And that is ideally perfect, what you just said. You're their photographer and their realtor. And it took some time, but you built those relationships and that rapport. And that's what building a business is about. Anything else? I like those two. All right, so now we're gonna just tie it all up and put it together. Everyone really needs to focus on like an action plan. Figure out what works for you, make it your own. Your time blocking, your lead gen, writing your notes, your schedule, finding that work-life balance, taking time for yourself, getting your schedule. I think that is essential and key. And then cultivating relationships and figuring out what works for you. I mean, you guys, those two things right there have me like fathom, like, wow, like that is the culmination of growing a business. I just can't wait to see where it goes for for you guys, because those were great. And that's pretty much what the whole thing was about: prospecting, about lead gen, your sphere of influence, growing that sphere of influence, cultivating those relationships, leading to agreements, leading to the contracts, leading to actual paydays. And biggest thing, like I told everyone, it's the problem solving, figuring out that problem solving, understanding that these are not transactions, they're clients, they're customers, they are relationships, and cultivating those relationships brings more. There's nothing better than someone you assisted and then they refer you out, and your phone starts ringing and you don't have to do as much prospecting and you know, cold calling and door knocking and things like that. As we wrap up, any ahas, something that you said, well, I got to get on that works. Any ahas or knock me over the head moments?
Nikki Briscoe here. Hello. Sorry, lost my headphone. Just hearing all the different ideas and just, you know, how to organize yourself. But every time I come to a meeting, it's just more and more information and the different ways that people handle their business and do lead gens and prospecting is very helpful. I've been away from it for a few months, so all of this information is just so very helpful in every aspect. So I appreciate all of you and the information. So help me get going, and I'm back home now, and I can kind of like try and work it now. So I appreciate it all.
And I can't say it enough. You have to make it your own. If you take someone else's system and try to you take someone else's system and you just try to follow it, it doesn't work. It's not going to work. You have to put your personality, your attitude, what works for you, and craft it to make it your own. And you will have success by doing that. I've seen people like strictly like, I'm going to do it this way, and this is the way it's got. It doesn't work like that. Every deal is different. Every person you talk to will be different. You have to have that personality, that charisma, and nurture that relationship. So it needs to be truthful and honest from you. People can tell. They can definitely tell when you're just thinking it's just a quick sale or this, that, and other, and it's not genuine. If you're genuine, it comes across, and you will cultivate those relationships. Any more ahas? Let's hear it. It's Friday. We're almost done with the week.
I truly think that the way you've emphasized make it your own is really what's going to make it successful.
You went out a little bit.
I said the way you said make it your own really is the key to making your prospecting successful.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, just teaching the younger agents that are on my team now, I started to have that realization. Like, we'll have a call. Like, we get a lot of investors that are call, and what I do is I'll team them up with one of my agents, and then we'll do like an intro call. So we'll do a Zoom or a Google Meet, and we'll go through the whole spiel. And they start to sound like me with my whole investor spiel. And I told him, I said, when you say it, it doesn't sound genuine because you're just copying off of what I said. Do you understand the reasons why I said that way? And once they started understanding that, and now they're holding those conversations based on how they feel and how they see it, it comes across more genuine, it comes across more knowledgeable, it comes across more personal. And now they're doing a little bit better business. So that's why I say you have to make it your own. It's the lead gen and everything like that. Those are basic, but make your own system on how you do it, and success will come. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I mean, there's a lot of business out here right now, and cultivating those relationships creates more business. So, anything else before we get out of here? Well, it has been a pleasure. And anybody want to just feel free to shoot me a call or a text or anything like that. You got any questions? Number is 216-224-4326. And then email is Jermaine Brooks at kw.com. And feel free to reach out. Because one thing I have learned is that the more we talk amongst each other as agents, the more we help each other. That's one of the reasons why I love KW. I mean, I've learned so much just from listening to other people, whether it was newer agent, because a lot of times when you're in the woods, you can't see out. So a lot of times the perspective of a newer agent, I'm like, yeah, that was that simple. I've been doing it this way all this time. So, you know, I'm open for conversation, open for any suggestions, or if you just need any assistance.
Jermaine,
yep.
I just have one more quick question. When you first started, did you have a coach, or because you were a solo agent, correct?
Yep.
Did you?
No, I did not. I wish I would have, but I learned the hard way on a lot of deals. But no, I did not have an agent. I mean, a coach or anything like that. I'm just getting into coaching now and starting to take a lot of the classes and do a lot of deep dives within like the last 3 years, 3-4 years.
Do you think as an individual agent, like I'm 8 months in, I'm kind of considering one-on-one coaching because I feel like I need more of that one-on-one conversation with someone that's more knowledgeable about it? You think that's beneficial starting earlier rather than later?
Yes, definitely. Like I stated, most of the agents I think I got how many, 14, 15. I got 15 agents on my team now, all new, fresh out of school, came straight from Hondros, right to the office, and they're benefiting off of the one-on-ones. Like I stated, I have time block where I contact anybody who has an issue, walk them through, go on. It's more of a mentoring type thing that we're doing, and I'm seeing a lot of success from that. So yes, definitely coaching straight out the gate will turn your business skyrocketing quick, fast, and in a hurry. I came from school of hard knocks. I bumped my head several times. All right, well, it has been a pleasure. I'm going to get out of here and let you guys finish up and enjoy your Friday.